was released last week. She said medical staff initially refused to see her after she began hemorrhaging profusely, soaking through 6 sanitary pads in an hour. Eventually, she was taken to a hospital. And last summer, a 32-year-old man died at the Florence Center after being detained at a facility for roughly 3 weeks. Now, that facility is being run by a company called Core Civic, and they have a statement saying, "Nothing matters more to Core Civic than the health and safety of the people in our care." He says the facilities routinely pass government inspections, and the reports of substandard care are simply not reflective of the hard work their people do. DHS simply says in a statement, it is a choice to be detained, and people can simply self-deport. But I just ask, are we still good with holding children, some as young as 2 months old, for indefinite amounts of time in any kind of facility that is basically a jail?
Look, I don't like hearing those stories. I want everyone to be safe and get the health care and what they need. I think it is a reminder, though, that we frankly don't have the resources to provide health care for the millions of illegal people who came in here. And on the other point of people sort of complaining about
you mean in
detention
the jails or just
centers,
in general?
Just in general. It's interesting. I mean, for years, the media ignored these stories about people who were complaining, whether it was in Texas on a border state or Springfield, Ohio, of immigrants who were flooding their towns and they didn't have resources at all.
But you're being asked about children in a detention center, not about
never
immigrants
covered.
taking health care.
And now
that was covered.
It
was covered.
It was ridiculed. People who.
It was definitely covered.
People who were trying to erect the border
The question
wall
is, should
in
we be
their
keeping children in
Texas.
detention facilities without the proper health care?
That's the question. I would like. My understanding is children are getting health care there. I think they should get. I'm saddened to hear that report. If that's true, most of the reporting I've seen on these detention centers are that people are getting education and health care. So I, of course.
Well, look, I mean, I think both things can be true at the same time. It is.
We're getting education.
I
would blame these parents, though, for putting their children in this position.
Hold on. Look, there are at least some cases. There's one case where a family had, during the Biden administration, had come through the CBP One app. They had been inspected. They had gone through the application. They were told they could come into the country, and now they are being detained with their young child in a detention facility. Now, you can disagree with the actions of the Biden administration, but what is the point of punishing children for their parents doing something that was the illegal process at the time and putting them in, again, regardless of how many nurses they have or books they have in these facilities, these are jails.
Abby, when you're dealing with millions of people, there's always going to be horrific stories like this. That's not going to stop. I think a bigger issue
but you realize that
is there a middle ground
is an issue here, right?
Listen to this. I mean, I talked to a farmer from Iowa last week while I was in Florida, and he told me that if we threw out all of the people that work on his farms, we wouldn't eat anymore. And so what he's asking for is, say, wait a second, if this person came into the country, is supporting a family, never broke a law, is there some kind of middle ground to help him get his papers as a citizen, perhaps, while he works and feeds America? That was his question. I said,
it's a good question, but Trump promised mass deportation.
Remember, if you broke a law, if you actually are found in, I don't know, ICE or some other law enforcement entity, and you clearly came here illegally and you broke a law, I'm sorry, you're gone. You may have to stop.
Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Your support helps us bring you the latest news and updates.